We do a lot of product reviews on our channel. We're gonna do almost a 1-year update on this product. We use it all the time. And in a time when the prices of items are going up, the price of this item is going down. Now what we're talking about is our portable power station. Now it's very big for RVers to have portable power stations. People use them differently. Some use them extensively as a backup source. If you have a small trailer, you're able to do that. That's not our use. We have a big motorhome. We have lithium batteries on there. Most of these power stations are not going to power the amount of juice that motorhome takes, but how we use our power stations is supplemental power for a lot of tasks that go on in the motorhome, outside of the motorhome. And for the last almost year, we've been using as one of our power stations this unit right here. This is the Bluetti ELITE 200. This is version V2. It's the V2. You can see this does have some battle scars on it because it has been used. And so far, this thing has worked great. I'm going to talk about some of the specs on here and then how we use it, an overall rating for it, and the final price for Black Friday, which is really, really great. So it has a 2600 watt inverter on it, 2076.6 kilowatt hours on here. Are you going to run 3 ACs on this? No, you're not going to do that. Can you run a coffee maker? Can you run a heat gun? Can you run a blender? Can you run a microwave? Yeah, you can do all of that and then some on here. It's solar chargeable. So we have had it hooked up to our 350 watt solar panels, and it works really great. It does have the ability on the power lift mode to go up to 3,900 watts for spurts. So if you have that initial startup on something, it works great. I could tell you, I use this all the time vacuuming. I know when we plug in our vacuum to our motorhome bays, not enough juice. This, no problem. We could plug it in, there's no issue. Another nice thing about this is that it charges very quickly. So if you charge it off of the AC, it goes from 0 to 80% in about 1.1 hours, which is extremely quick. Now let's look a little bit more of the outputs on this unit. So you can power up to 9 different objects on here. Obviously you have your 12 volt out, you have a USB-C 100 watt here, USB-A 15 watt, USB-A 15 watt, and then another USB-C 100 watt. These 100 watts are perfect USB-Cs if you have MacBooks or a lot of different products that run a USB-C. Now over here on the AC output, you do have 4 20 amp max, 120 volt outlets on here, and it's again rated for 2600 watts. If you look over here on the screen, you have a DC control as well as the AC control. You can see right now it's fully charged. If I do plug something on here, it will tell you what the AC input is as well as the output, or the DC input and output. So we're in our bay now. This is one of the ways that we like to transport this unit. We do have several of these, so if you can look right over here, I just want to show you for the compact size. This does fit easily in our slide out tray. You can see a comparison to a bucket here. Now that's just a regular Home Depot bucket. And you can see about the size of it. It doesn't take much room. It's under 55 pounds, so it's relatively light. These outlets right here don't have much juice. So if I hook up a vacuum, I want to vacuum out the bays, it doesn't really work. So I can just hook right into this and have plenty of room to pull the extension and clean up any bays. So let's demonstrate here. We have a shop vac. This is a 2.5 gallon shop vac, 2.5 horsepower. And these are notoriously hungry, especially on the startup, but you're gonna see this has no problem here, because again, you got the 2600 watts, plus if you wanna use that boost mode, it's gonna kick in automatically. So I'm gonna turn it on, and this runs with no problem. And it'll keep running, there's no issue with this. It's really, really nice to have when you're out camping, you wanna vacuum up your car inside, you wanna vacuum any mess. If you have a little shop vac with you, any kind of vac, something that's hungry, this unit's gonna power it with no problem. I do want to demonstrate some other common tools that are used. Again, I mentioned before the heat gun. So we do have a ACE heat gun here. I'm gonna turn it up to high. That's number 2, it's on high. You can see we're running here 675 watts, 650 or so. I'm also gonna kick on the vacuum at the same time. It's gonna make a little bit of noise. So you have the vacuum going, you have the heat gun going. We're at 1,635 fluctuating back and forth, but you do have plenty of power on here, and you can see it's running both without a stutter. We wouldn't normally be running multiple high power units like this, but again, a blender, microwave, any kind of power tool, saw, it's gonna run all that. And we do usually like that for sometimes, but most of the time how we're using it, we keep it inside. It's another source of power, right? Like there's never enough outlets inside a motorhome. If you have a motorhome, you know this. So there's always USBs, everything, and everything gets plugged in somewhere. So this is just another source for that. But we also use it in our Tahoe. So here, welcome to the back of the Tahoe. Why is there wire hanging from your tailgate? I'm going to show you. So right over here is the wireless braking and turn signal lights for our towed vehicle, and it is wireless, and we did full videos on that. We can link it up above, but you can power it one of several ways. Now I can power it on the onboard 12 volt, but remember, as we're going down the road, we're not charging anything in the Tahoe. Now if you're on a trip for a couple hours, not a big deal, but if you're going 9-10 hours or so, you could run down the battery. So all we do is simply plug in here and everything lights up, and we can just power off that battery for a very long time. It's only gonna pull power when that light's activating. That light's only gonna activate with turn signal, so we can run for 40, 50, 60 hours, more than we're gonna be driving, and we could just top it off at the end of the night. And since it is a Bluetti, it comes available with the ability to get all the accessories for Bluetti. So this one we haven't hooked up yet. This is, I just haven't had time. This is the DC to DC charger. So I do plan on putting this in the Tahoe, and then what I can do is when the Tahoe is running down the road, when it's on, it's gonna always be charging that unit. I told you we have multiple ones. I keep one in the truck, keep one on the RV. And the truck is really nice because a lot of times when we're driving either on the motorhome or in the Tahoe, MJ's doing work on the computer, there's always something plugged in. And this is a 2007, so we don't have those 120 outlets in here. This is a really nice option for that 120 outlet. I actually have 4 120 outlets. There is a power station to fit you if you want one. Again, if you want one to run this big motorhome here, this is not the one for it. I don't know if anybody makes something for this, but if you have a small van, small trailer, like with one battery, this is a nice option. Or maybe you get a couple of them, or one that's a little bit bigger. Really nice option, especially for the price point. So let's talk about some of the specs. The capacity, like I said earlier, 2073.6 kilowatt hours, it's 54 amp hours. It's pure sine wave inverter, so everything is coming clean out of there. You don't have to worry about your electronics getting damaged. The lifting power mode up to 3,900 watts. It's 2,600 watts. Very powerful for something this size. I told you about all the ports and the watts coming out of them. The solar input is 1,000 watts max at 20 amps. Car input 96 watts max at 12 volts. And then the maximum input, both AC plus DC, is 2,400 watts. These are lithium iron phosphate batteries. They are good for 6,000 full cycles, approximately 17 years. That doesn't sound like a lot, but 17 years is a long time. We won't get anywhere near that. There'll be new technology coming out way before that. This is changing all the time. And then regarding shelf life, you want to recharge to 40 to 60% every 3 to 6 months. Again, very little parasitic drain on here. We just top it off and we use it pretty regularly. If you do choose to buy the basic, just the regular model with no accessories, it's going to come with an AC charging cable, of course, the battery, and it'll come with a grounding screw, as well as solar charging cable if you want to hook up to panels. They also have other accessories. They have that DC to DC charger. You can get multiple setups with the solar panels. It really depends. Now, what is the price on this particular unit? Now, when this first came out, which is a little crazy over a year ago, these were priced at $1,699. Now, they always run sales, but this is the lowest it's ever been. Black Friday sale, we're gonna put the link down below, $699. You can go back and watch those other videos. I'll link it up above. It wasn't $699. For this price, it's a great deal. Now, they're gonna come out with something new, probably, but it doesn't mean that this is a bad unit. It's actually a great deal, and I'm all about buying maybe like last year's model, but getting a much better price, because I'm not into buying like the latest and greatest. Let it sit, get it on sale. That's how I roll, and this is a great unit. We'll put our link down below. We do want to thank Bluetti for sending this out. These units, they're great. I mean, I can't complain. It's not like a fly-by-night company. They're coming out with new units all the time. One of the most well-known power stations out there. So we want your feedback. What do you think about this unit? Do you carry a power station? More and more, it's becoming like a common thing. 25 years ago, nobody had a cell phone. Now everybody carries a cell phone. 10 years ago, these power stations were unheard of. 5 years ago, people started to use them. Now, they're almost like regular. You see them everywhere. If you want to see a video with more specific testing on this unit, we'll link this one right up above. Safe travels, happy holidays, and we'll see you on the road.